Peace, everyone. Welcome to Winning Wednesdays for Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. If you didn't know, today is the best day in history. Today is the best day in history. Today is the best day in history to own one of these supercomputers. A few clicks on that supercomputer, and I can pretty much do anything. So today is indeed the best day in history. Today is the best day in history to be alive. Today is the best day in history to have business acumen. Today's the best day in history to have tech acumen. So I'm glad to be alive here today. I'm grateful that I am here. So that's the first line of business. Second line of business. My name is Errol. As you know, every Wednesday, noon Eastern, we have Winning Wednesdays, where we discuss financial news, current events in the financial markets. Very interesting times today. Very interesting times right now. I'm looking at the current market. Very interesting times. So I'm seeing a lot of red recently, yesterday and today. A lot of red. Market's been pulling back a lot. So we're going to discuss some of that. I've got several things on my notes here I wanted to discuss this week. Let's see here. Let's look at current market. Okay, actually, before we even do that, let us know where you're checking in from. Let us know where we're checking in from. Today we are live on YouTube, StreamYard, and X. So we welcome everyone across the different platforms. Wednesdays at noon Eastern, Winning Wednesdays. Who do we got? Okay, we got Andrea. Peace to Andrea. Detroit. Okay, Detroit, Metro Detroit in the building. We got F. Willis 7137. Peace to F. Willis. Got Sheila. Welcome, Sheila. Clinton, Maryland. Okay, Clinton, Maryland. Okay, Maryland's heavy in the building. Welcome, Maryland. Welcome to everyone. Okay, let's get right to it. Let me share my screen here. Very interesting times. And this is one of the reasons why right here. Okay, so let's see where we stand as of 12:02 p.m. Eastern. The indexes are just slightly down. S&P just slightly down. NASDAQ just slightly down. Apple, one of the few green tickers today, 276 on Apple. Okay, AMD, I got on my notes. I want to discuss AMD. Down 16% or for about $40 to 202. Those of you that like AMD, we're going to discuss AMD. Amazon 237. Another interesting one is Broadcom, currently at 307, down 5% or $16 down to 304. Another interesting one, Bitcoin, currently at 73,300. Coinbase at 169. Coinbase pulled back a lot. You can see since, let's see here. We're at 262 in mid-January. Now we're at 169 early February. Google 332. Okay, Google's pulled back a bit from early, not too long ago, early February. Not that, a few days ago. Okay, where else do we stand? Microsoft's pulled back a lot, up a little bit today, 415. Not too long ago, Microsoft was 551. Okay, back in October after two earnings ago, they're up in the 550s after earnings. You can see this little jump from here to here. Now, since October, 550, currently at 415 after a 1% increase today. So it was about 410, 411 at close yesterday. Meta currently 674. Okay, so very interesting tickers here. Very interesting. Palantir earnings. They had early earnings Monday afternoon. Spiked up to the 150s. Right, or even 160s, and now it's pulled back to the 139 into the 130s. Tesla, another interesting one, currently 406. When was this? Back in December, but even back in January, a couple weeks ago, 450. Now currently 400, 406. Okay, so very interesting times. I want to actually go to Google to check out some of these tickers in more detail, one of them being AMD. All right, let me share my screen there. I want to take a closer look at AMD in detail. So let's do that right now. Now, you may know AMD reported earnings yesterday. Okay, so let's check out some of these articles from Google. AMD stocks drops despite beat and raise earnings report. Okay, Investors Business Daily. AMD stock sinks 12% after earnings, CNBC. Here's why. Let's check out this one. Okay, AMD stock dropped 12% today. Some analysts have predicted the chipmaker would provide stronger guidance for the first quarter amid ongoing AI boom. AMD stock surged more than 100% in the past year on the back of rising demand. Okay, so let's see what's going on with Lisa Su's company. Chipmaker AMD dropped 12% on Wednesday after its Q1 forecast fell short of some analyst expectations. AMD reported revenue of a whole lot for the fourth quarter and topped the consensus estimates of even a whole lot on Tuesday. The company said it expects a whole lot in revenue in Q1 plus a whole lot versus expectations of a whole lot. But some analysts have predicted the chip maker would, would provide stronger guidance for Q1 amid an ongoing boom in spending for processors needed to power AI. AMD, which alongside NVIDIA is one of the key makers of AI chips, has seen a stock surge more than 100% in the past year on the background of rising demand. Currently 202. AMD currently 202. Let's see here. I'm going to go to the chart after. First, expectations were pretty sky high. Secondly, they announced they shipped Chinese revenue in the quarter that was unexpected. Okay, that was not in street numbers, but so when you account for that, they beat, but far less substantial than we would have thought. However, the semiconductor analyst added demand for AMD's chips in data centers was still strong for the company, was hitting at multi-gigawatt contracts to come in the future. Chipmaker inked a deal with OpenAI in October that could see the startup take 10% stake. OpenAI will deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD's Instinct graphics processor units over multiple years, beginning with an initial 1 gigawatt rollout in second half 26. Oracle also announced in October plans to deploy 50,000 of AMD chips beginning later this year. Wow. Okay, so let's take a look at AMD's chart. Let's go back and take a look at AMD's chart. Let's see what's going on with their chart here. Okay, currently 202, down a whole lot, but still down a whole lot today. Down a whole lot. This could be your opportunity for entry. There's different ways you can play this. You can buy shares outright. If you're into the options market, there's several plays on the option side you can make, including buying a call. Okay, so let's see here. 5 days, down 20% in the past 5 days. So this was 253 last week. Okay, down about 9%, 8.5%, 9%, 6 months year to date. Okay, down 10% year to date. On the 5 year, looked like it topped out 256 back in October. Let's see here. If I go 1 year, let's go 1 year. 255 October, end of October, 253 January. Okay, currently at 202. So AMD, I believe they're second in their field. I believe they're a distant second in their field. Okay, AMD, very interesting. Let's see here. Top semiconductor stocks. NVIDIA, TSM, Micron, Broadcom, AMD, a key competitor in data center CPUs and AI GPUs, offering significant upside. Remains a dominant leader in AI data center GPUs, maintaining a mass. Okay, here's a lesson. Here's a lesson right here. Okay, say I'm AMD. Say I am AMD. Maybe I can't compete with one of my competitors directly. They've got such an advantage in one area that maybe it's not worthwhile trying to compete. Maybe if I'm AMD, I don't compete directly with NVIDIA head-to-head on GPUs. They have such a lead on me in GPUs, but maybe I can take the lead in a different area completely. I can beat them in CPUs. Okay, a key competitor in data center CPUs and AI GPUs. Okay, AI GPUs. Maybe I can compete better in a more of a niche market. I believe a more niche market is AI GPU. A more, how should I say this? A more narrow sector, a more narrow field would be the AI GPUs. I believe a more broader sector would be the GPUs overall. So it looks like AMD is not competing directly, but they're competing other ways. So there's a lesson right there. Let me see if I can think of another example, a better, maybe a clearer example. If I'm a mama pop's burger shop, if I'm a mama pop's burger joint, maybe I can't compete directly with McDonald's on making burgers. They've got such a head start on me. They've got such an advantage on me producing hamburgers that maybe I don't compete with them directly on hamburgers, but I can compete with them. Maybe I can compete with them on maybe the fish sandwich or maybe a steak sandwich. Maybe not a steak sandwich. I mean, hamburgers is technically steak, right? Maybe I can compete with them less directly and beat them in a more of a niche field, more of a maybe not a niche field, but more of a not of a broad field, not as a broad field. Okay, all right. So that's AMD. Very interesting company reported yesterday after close. AMD. All right, so that's what's going on with AMD. A couple other tickers I want to look up. Very interesting, really recently. Another one was PayPal. I think they had earnings as well. PayPal, currently 41. Let's check the news on PayPal. PayPal earnings. Time to abandon this sinking ship, according to Seeking Alpha. PayPal shares plunge nearly 20% on CEO exec, disappointing 26 profit. PayPal bulls set to win big as spooked investors puke in the hole, according to Yahoo Finance. Okay, NASDAQ, why PayPal's crash? Let's check out NASDAQ. All right, let's see here. Investors are losing patience with PayPal's lack of progress. Shares of PayPal plunge on Tuesday after the payment processor warned it that its profits could fall in 26. By the close of trading, PayPal stock was down more than 20%. Lackluster growth, fierce competition has taken toll. Okay, so if you're PayPal leadership, how do you pivot? Okay, so the one point that the Nasdaq points out here is lackluster growth, fierce competition. Okay, so if you're PayPal leadership, how do you pivot? Looking ahead in 26, PayPal said its full-year adjusted profits could range from a slight increase to a low single-digit percentage decline. PayPal is also facing intensifying competition from the likes of Apple and Alphabet's Google. With their technical expertise, abundant capital, and massive user bases, the tech titans are formidable threats. To meet these challenges, here we go. PayPal's board of directors decided to replace outgoing CEO with incoming chief executive. Okay, who will assume the role March 1. Okay, so look, they're pivoting by changing leadership. Their top executive, they're switching out their top executives. Maybe this guy will have better ideas. Maybe this guy will have. Maybe he'll be able to right their ship. Okay, so PayPal pulled back a lot last couple of days. Okay, PayPal. Let's take a look at their stock. Let's see here. All currently 41. Let's check the 5-year. 5-year down 84%. Okay, 5 years ago it was 260, 270. Now it has lost a lot of value last 5 years. Okay, down 46% last year, 1 year. Year to date, down a lot, 29% in 5 weeks. Okay, so yeah, PayPal has not been doing well. Not been doing well. Okay, max all time is probably up. Okay, even all time it's up 18%. So when did they IPO? It looks like they IPO'd in less than 10 years ago. They IPO'd, 11 years ago. 11 years ago. Okay, they IPO'd at 34 and a half, it looks like. They peaked at, what is this? They peaked at 300, it looks like. Now they're at 41. Okay, 41. If you're PayPal, what's your plan moving forward? What is your plan moving forward? Okay, PayPal. Another interesting ticker. Since their earnings yesterday. Okay, PayPal. All right, let's see here. All right, let me share one of the catalysts this week. Catalyst this week is more earnings. Let's stop sharing that one. Okay, very important week this week in terms of earnings. Let's check it out. Let me see if I can share. Okay, here we go. Okay, another important week in terms of earnings. Earlier this week, Disney, Palantir, PayPal yesterday morning, Pepsi yesterday morning, Pfizer. After close yesterday, AMD, Supermicro, Chipotle. Earlier today, okay, I want to take a look at Lilly. Let me see what's going on with Eli Lilly today. Okay, Eli Lilly's up about 9.5%. Uber, I want to take a look at Uber. Later today, Alphabet, Qualcomm. Tomorrow after close, Amazon, Strategy. It's an interesting one right there, Strategy. Bloom Energy, Affirm. Friday, Toyota. Okay, so another important week in terms of earnings. I want to take a look at Lilly and Uber. Let's see what's going on with Lilly and Uber. Okay, let me pull up Uber. Uber ticker stock price. Okay, 75 for Uber. 75.09. Let's check it out. All right, let's share Uber. Let's see what's going on with Uber. 75.09, down 3.5% today. 5-day down 6, almost 7. 1 month down 7. 6 months down 15%. Year to date down 9%. Past year up 7. Okay, 5 years 28%. Okay, Uber. Let's check their news right quick. Uber reports 20% revenue growth for Q4, fueled by food delivery. That makes me think of all the drivers, all the Uber drivers. I know that. I suspect. I don't want to say I know that, but I suspect that market's been saturated for a while. They have a lot of competition. A lot of people want to drive Uber. A lot of people want to drive for Lyft. So if I'm Uber and I know there's a lot of people that want to drive for me, there's a high demand, that puts me in a stronger position. Now, if there are fewer drivers, if I couldn't find drivers, that puts me at a disadvantage. But if I have if I have a large supply of drivers, that puts Uber in the advantage. All right, let's check this. I want to see what's going on with Lilly right quick. Let's see here. All right, doesn't mention Lilly specific here. All right, we'll come back to that. Okay, so several tickers, very interesting. One more before we move on. One more here. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's pulled back a lot. Let's check. Okay, currently 73,400, down 3% to 73.4. 73.4. If you like Bitcoin, you should like it at 73. Okay, Bitcoin's currently... Okay, check this. Down last 5 days, down almost 13% in the last 5 days. 5 days ago was at 83, currently at 73. 1 month, down 20% in 1 month. 6 months down 36%. Okay, down a lot in the last 6 months. 6 months ago, it was for 114, thereabouts, 114. All right, let's check the 5-year. Still up a lot in 5 years. Max, okay, up a lot max with a 40% pullback in the last 6 months. still up 16,000% all time. Okay. Even with this pullback, I suspect, I don't have the empirical data in front of me, but even with this recent pullback, since inception, I think Bitcoin is still the best performing asset the last, 10 years? Yeah, May 16th, early 2016. Even with this recent pullback, um, Bitcoin, I think, is still the strongest, the best asset, still the best returning asset. Maybe I asked that AI. Maybe I asked the AI what the best. What the best. I'm gonna ask AI two questions. What the best? Actually, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Two questions I'm gonna ask the AI. What's the best asset in the last 10 years? What's the best asset this century so far, or this millennium? Millennium, I think, is century, right? No, millennium is 1,000. Century is 100, right? Drop your answers to the. Drop your response in the chat. What's okay? First question: what's the best returning asset in the last 10 years? What's the best returning asset so far this millennium? Okay, 10 years, I say Bitcoin. Millennium, I say Monster Energy. Okay, so I'm going to ask the AI two questions. Best returning asset last 10 years, I suspect Bitcoin. Best returning asset this millennium, I suspect it's Monster Energy. Okay, let's go ask the AI. Let's check the AI. Let's check the AI. Drop your answers in the chat. What's the best returning asset the last 10 years? What's the best returning asset this millennium? Let me pull up the AI. While I pull up the AI, let me see if I can find the AI. Which AI do I have up today? I think I have GPT up today. Let me share my GPT. Let's ask GPT what's what. Okay, here we go. All right, let me ask the GPT. GPT, what is the best returning asset the last, what do you think I was going to say? Last 10 years? I think this will be Bitcoin here. What do you think? Drop your answer in the chat before I press enter. What is the best returning asset the last 10 years? What do you think it'll say? What do you think it'll say? Drop your answer. Drop your answer. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See what it says. Okay, so AI don't want to cooperate with me. Something went wrong. Let me copy that. Let me do this again. Come on, GPT. Come on, GPT. All right, let me pull up a different AI in the meantime. Let me pull up a different GPT. I meant different AI in the meantime. Okay, GPT done stuck. GPT got stuck. Okay, stuck like Chuck. Okay, GPT, you have been released of your duties. You have been released of your duties. Okay, GPT, you got the pink slip. Let me go to another AI. Let's see what this one returns. All right, let me share my screen here. Share screen. Let's see here. Does this one cooperate? Okay, here we go. Copilot's cooperating. What is the best returning asset the last 10 years? Has been, okay, tech, NASDAQ 100. NASDAQ 100 according to Copilot. Okay, NASDAQ. Okay, so NASDAQ 100 first. Large cap US growth, NASDAQ 100 exposure. Broad NASDAQ 100 exposure delivers some of the highest annualized returns. Third is gold and gold miners. Okay, so according to Copilot, it's the NASDAQ 100. Okay, so NASDAQ 100, according to Copilot, then I'm asking the AI best returning asset so far this. Let me go down here. Okay, so let's see here. What is the best returning asset the last 26 years? 26 years. Let's see if this says Monster Energy. Let me see if I did this correctly here. Did I do this correctly? Okay, best returning asset, 99 to 2025. It says basically both large cap S&P and small cap stocks significantly outperformed. Okay, so U.S. stocks, S&P. Gold. Gold performed well during crisis periods, but did not match U.S. equity returns. Real estate delivered moderate returns, but underperformed equities. Bonds. It doesn't even mention. Okay, so to my surprise, okay, so Nasdaq 100 and the S&P, according to Copilot. Okay. All right, that's that. All right, let's get back. Okay, so there's a couple interesting articles I wanted to share today, but I got some better YouTube shorts I wanted to share. So let's go to YouTube. You might have heard Elon was trying to merge several of his companies. So let me check. Let me see what's going on with Bloomberg. This is Bloomberg's YouTube channel. Okay, let's see what's going on with Elon and his merger.
SpaceX just bought XAI, all stock transaction. The SpaceX bit valued at $1 trillion, the XAI bit $250 billion, the combined entity $1.25 trillion. XAI becomes a subsidiary of SpaceX, which is subject to rules around the use of technology in defense applications. Thus, XAI will basically run as a separate company. There are concerns about XAI's debt pile and some of the financing behind this. The question is why? Elon Musk's argument is quite simple. AI is running out of power here on Earth. It's putting a burden on the grid, it's impacting communities, using up water, and there isn't enough space to build data centers. So Elon Musk's solution, put the data centers in space. Near constant solar power, instant cooling, no space constraints. Pardon the pun. By merging XAI with SpaceX, Elon Musk has the talent, the rockets, the satellites, the communications network, and an orbital-based space data center footprint, and an AI stack as one integrated system. Starship becomes the enabler, launching massive AI compute systems that rely on solar to power them. Sure, there's a bigger picture longer term. Get to Mars, moon bases, space-based economy. We still think the SpaceX IPO is coming in 2026, because even if these data centers go into space, somebody's got to pay for the GPUs. SpaceX just
Actually, that wasn't even the short I had in mind. Maybe I watched the short I had in mind somewhere else, but let me see. Oh yeah, this is the one I wanted to share. This one right here.
Bloomberg reporting, based on people familiar with the situation, that Elon Musk does plan to merge his SpaceX business with his AI company, XAI.
He wants to put data centers in space. Elon's view is that we're going to have data centers in space, and part of this is about, putting compute and the idea of space exploration and sort of exploration of the universe together. This is clearly part of his vision. There is a very good quote that kind of encapsulates a lot of this, which is what he wrote, I think, late last year, which is that in some ways, his three companies, Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI, are going to come together. They're going to converge. And maybe this is kind of the first leg of the stool that we're now seeing.
Let me check this graphic right here. This is an interesting graphic right here. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Hopefully that's bigger for you. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I think we're back. Let me go back here. Okay, let's see here. See how I do this correctly. Go enter studio. Enter.
Convergence of the Musk universe. We're watching it in real time.
You're at the stage. Okay, trying to sort this out. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, give me a second here while I sort of tech. Okay, I got myself on here. Oh, wrong person. Okay. Hopefully we're good. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Can you guys hear me? An echo? Let me know if I screwed up or I screwed up worse. Let me make sure that's correct. Okay, now 1, 2. All right, let's see here. Bear with me. Okay.